Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Hi, I'm Lisa Ackberry, your hair doctor, and I just want to start by saying, guys, I just love y'all. Thank you so much for opening up and just being so warm and just kind to me, because it takes a lot to really do this. Well, I say takes a lot because there could be criticism about some of the things that I'm doing with my book and the things that I want us to open up to, like things in our mind, things that we're doing to cause hair problems. So thank you so much for being so kind to me. And those of you who don't agree with me, I love you too. And I thank you so much for just kind of, not being so hard on me. So thanks a lot, guys. And today we're going to continue with the Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair. And we're on the part about the mind. And I think we're going into part 4. And I want to just kind of jump right in there and start talking about something that we really don't think about a lot. I think I've got a little flat part on my hair. I think I'm a little bit more symmetric now, you think? Okay. Yeah, I have a lot going on this morning with it, and I'm just loving it. It's one of those, hey, let's just have fun days. So I'm just doing some different things with my hair. But anyways, sneaky, subtle, seems almost harmless. There's some things that we do with our hair that just seem harmless, and they're just kind of sneaky. Before we know it, we've got a problem, and we don't know how it happened. So I'm going to read this. Many women kind of hate their hair as adults. And I know it's hard to say that, and that's why I hesitate. Because some of you really do, and only seem to like the hair after it's been changed from its original state. And that's what's so scary. I have some patients who come into my clinic, and they just, I just don't like this kinky hair. And I know in your heart you're just really saying, you're crying out saying, I can't manage this hair. But I mean, many are saying, I hate my hair. And they really don't like it until it's been changed. And you spend lots of money on your hair. I mean, it's been their teenage years. Let's see, let me read how I wrote this. Many spend their teenage years and now their adult life going from one style to the next, never really being satisfied. I found that among these women, many would say things like, I hate my hair, or I have always hated my hair. As they become adults, many would unknowingly do damaging things to change their hair, causing it to break, and then causing it to damaging and aging things to change their hair, causing it to break, and then when it doesn't recover, or they can't hide, they try to hide the damage. Yeah, through added hair, braids, weave, even a wig. The most famous hair cover really that's been around forever is braids. And we tend to do that a lot. Many women follow, and now we're calling them protective styles. We're calling all kinds of names for them. But we go back to the braids because we believe, quote unquote, braids grow our hair. Now, again, this is a sensitive thing to speak about, but it's true. We have to understand that we got to learn to love our hair in its natural state, and then alter it for those of you who are altering it. Those of you who are not, then great. Then you don't have to worry about this. But then you still have to manage your natural hair, and you have to, instead of trying to just cover it up, because that's what it's for. You want it out there where you're enjoying it. Let's see. And then we said, at the end of the day, we're still not really satisfied, and sometimes even become depressed and say, my hair just stopped growing, or my hair only grows when it's covered up. Many believe that. Other women never look back at the trail of destruction and never learn that their hair was made uniquely suited to fit them. It's uniquely made. And all we need to do is to learn to embrace our hair type. Learn how to take care of it and give it give our hair the proper care and attention in order to make it healthy. For many women, negative thoughts are embedded in our subconscious mind and need to be cleansed away to replace in positive education. And we want to talk deeply about that, and I'm getting to it. Sometimes hair problems come later in life. Women who like their hair usually like their hair as a child and had positive people around them as it relates to the hair who would say positive things about their hair. And we're going back to our childhood and thinking about where did all this come from. These women seem to have no problem as a child, but only later in life. My studies have shown me something about this category of women, and it's led me to believe that this particular group, this is the largest group of women. I'm going to read it how I wrote it. It led me to believe that this is the largest group of women. They probably have the most hair problems, and they have stayed in denial the longest about their hair problems. Ladies who didn't like their hair when they were younger, they don't really like it now. They have all the hair problems, and they go in and out of hair problems. But the women who loved their hair when they were younger, once they began to have the hair problems, they kind of stayed in those problems, and they really, really had a struggle as they become adults, because as a child they never had those problems. You see what I'm saying? So these women believe everything and only, these women believe everything and only what mama or their beautician said about their hair. Someone else had always taken care of their hair and told them how and when to shampoo, even what style was best for their hair. Many of these women were never allowed to shampoo or comb their own hair. Now, I know this sounds strange, but think back. When you used to get your hair combed when it's a child, don't touch your hair. Your mom would say that, don't touch your hair. And so you never really learned how to take care of your hair. You went from your mama to your beautician. Your beautician said, don't touch your hair. I've had patients say to me, look, I don't do anything to my hair. And when I talk to them about it, they never did their hair when they were younger, and they're not doing their hair now. So when a problem comes, they are devastated. Okay, let's see. Let's go on to, I'm going to kind of skip down a little bit. I have interviewed many women and older adults who were confused, wondering if they never had, adults who were confused, wondering if they never had hair problems before, then why now? Sometimes we're confused about why all of a sudden they have hair problems. Actually, the hair problems have pretty much been growing from the start. Those particular hair problems didn't come overnight. There's a breaking down process of the hair shaft. A little bit of trichology here. You guys, when I look at the hair under the microscope, what I see are those layers to the hair shaft. And what happens, they begin to peel layer per layer per layer until the cortical fibers are exposed where the strength bonds are, the bonds that hold the hair together, and then eventually it breaks. So it's never all of a sudden the hair starts to dry out, and then the hair starts to get weak or thin, then it's thinner, and then you end up shorter. So there are lots of things that are happening. Let's kind of read, because I don't want to skip too much. It says many women make statements like, my hair was healthier when I was younger, when mama and my beautician took care of my hair. In their subconscious mind, they believe that someone else could take better care of their hair. Many became what I call salon dependent. You heard it. As you got older, you were forced to get involved with your hair, but you didn't know how. Mama is not here and to roll and oil your hair every night and say to you, don't do this or don't do that. It might hurt your hair. Mama was always watching what we did with our hair. The problem was that although you picked up many things and learned a lot of positive things from your mom and your old beautician, you were never really involved in this whole process. This lack of involvement became negative in life later. And that's what we talked about, that negative thing that happens. And those are the thoughts because you never were involved. Now here you are trying to deal with your hair and you don't know your type, and so you begin to experiment. But now you have changed and you've matured and you want a new hairstyle. You may even try a stylist that a coworker or college mate recommended. This person may specialize in style but not care. But you're thinking that she has a license, a large clientele, so she should be okay. Then before you know it, the long beautiful hair you always had begins to thin and break, so you change and go to another stylist. And she says, girl, your hair has been damaged. She tells you that the other beautician did it. You need to just cut it off and start it over. How many of you heard that? I conducted a little study and I found that, and this is changing. This was like 20 years ago. It really. Black women were losing hair at a rate at least 4 times between birth and 40 years old. So every 10 years their hair was, they had to cut their hair off and start over, or they had some major hair problem. And I just recently started a new study, and now it's changing, and you're not going to believe it. I now have 20 women in their late 20s that have lost hair at least 3 times in their lifetime. So if this trend continues, then we're going to have a different study. So we're going to have like every 5 years, you feel like you need to cut and start over. It's a big deal. And this is why I'm doing this, guys, because it's a big deal. Black women are losing hair unnecessarily. And there's a lot of things that we can do to change this. We can change it because we can change our mind. We can get to know our hair, and we will do much, much better. Once again, you change beauticians. You go with someone who has a large clientele or who does the pretty hairstyles. And that particular one causes problems again, and you start over and over again. And after all, you're getting older. You will never have hair like you had when you were younger. You start thinking that. Once again, you change beauticians. So do you see what I'm saying? At this point, you're depressed, you're wondering what to do, you start thinking back with mama, your other beautician, and you always say, oh, my old beautician, or my mama used to take good care of my hair. And those things are true, but what about now? All you can remember is that big jar of grease that mama used when she combed your hair, and the only reason you remember it because mama would tell you to hold the jar while I'm combing your hair. It was so sweet. You run out and buy, and only let's see, you'll run out and try to buy it as an older adult or as a teenager, or you run out and try to get that same product that you remember, and then you find that something's happening because it doesn't seem to work anymore. Your mama and your old beautician are no longer around, and you have in mind that you are, and really you think about them, because a lot of times if they are around, you're thinking, well, they're too old-fashioned to do your hair. You are now in a situation where your hair and scalp is damaged and you don't know what to do. A friend suggests that you go to a dermatologist, so you go, but you're still having problems. At that point, you don't know what to do, so you cut your hair off and grow and go natural, saying, well, if I can stay away from chemicals, I can grow my hair back and get rid of all of my scalp problems as well. And your scalp problems, your scalp feels better, really it does, and after you stop the chemicals, and your hair now covers your head. and does not break as much. But you are still not happy because you never learn how to embrace your own hair in its natural state. You can't seem to manage this natural hair. So you run back to chemicals and start all over again. How many of you have done that out there? You are so deep in denial and so unaware of how and at what point you got into this mess that you begin to just hate your hair. And oh my God, I'm so thankful for those of you who have gotten past this, but there's so many sisters, I love you, out there who have not gotten past this. We need to stop the insanity. What has happened here is that we never learned about our hair and what our hair needed, so we did not know what to do. You went from mama to beautician to stylist, and you were lost, and you could not find your way back home to healthy hair. The problem was you never knew your way home in the first place. Thoughts did not just appear out of nowhere. There are many thoughts put in our mind by many sources, relating to our hair type. Some seem to be a part of our cultural beliefs, and others are from what we hear and what we read. You cannot go back and change the past experiences. What you can do is expose the past experiences and use them to find out why you feel and think a certain way about your hair. This will allow you to throw out the negative, thus clearing up a pathway in your mind and make available space for this change. And I'm speaking of positive change. This change will be an automatic habit within your subconscious mind, freeing you to succeed to have healthy hair. You will be in control. Won't that be beautiful? You will hunger for the knowledge about your hair. Like now, you're looking at this video. You're hungry for this knowledge about your hair, and get rid of your hair and scalp problems. Learning how you got in trouble in the first place and how you will never go back to that ever again. You will then know you will know that this is the type of hair that God blessed you with, and God never ever ever makes any mistakes. When someone tries to talk you into things that you know will cause your hair and scalp problems, you simply say, sister to sister, been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, and I love my hair, and I ain't going back anymore. As we now know, we have to say it, believe it, and hold on to the incorrect things we have been told about our hair. And we have to get those things, and we have to move them away. And they have been automatically put into action. So now we're ready to move away, so there's no more hair and scalp problems. Take responsibility. Your hair breakage happened because you let it happen. Let's just get real. Either because you did not know any better, or you trusted someone else. In many cases, you knew better, but you wanted a particular style or look right then and there, and it caused this to happen. Sometimes we lie to ourselves, don't we? And we say things like, well, I guess this is just what I have to do as a black woman to get a hairstyle. Many will say to ourselves, one time just won't hurt. I would just do this damaging thing this one time, and it'll be the last time. Now, I know it sounds harsh what I'm saying, but let's look at how we are too trusting when it comes to our hair. How many times have you sat in a stylist chair or picked up a product off the shelf and not fully understand the side effects of the service or using the certain products that you just purchased? Your stylist may have said something like this: let me bond this weave to your hair and your hairstyle will look better. Or let me retouch your hair every 4 weeks so it won't break. New growth causes it to break. Or let me braid your hair and pull your hairline because it'll hold better. See, we don't realize those things are happening. Or maybe you walked in a local beauty supply and picked up a product, a box, or a jar, or some type of super grow, long hair in no time product. The girl on the box had long, beautiful hair. It was probably weave. Ask yourself, did this really make sense to you? Did you really understand the side effects of the service or using this product? What was said to you by your stylist or what was on that box sounded good, but everything that sounds good or looks good may not be good for you. You've heard that before. You put your trust in the stylist and what was told to you and what was done. You did not. You should only trust when you have done the research. That's the only time you should really trust it. On the stylist, and know you can trust what she says and that she's qualified in every way to do a particular service, and you have researched that particular service or product, and you know whether or not your hair can tolerate the application of such a service or product. You may say it is the stylist or manufacturer's responsibility to provide the best service or product. I agree, I do, that when you pay your hard-earned money, you deserve and should expect the best, and you should be able to trust it. We all know that that doesn't always happen. It is ultimately your responsibility to trust only after you have explored every avenue that is available to you. I'm Lisa Hackberry, your hair doctor. To God be the glory in Jesus. Thank you so much for letting me share with you today. I love you. I'll be back with Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair, and we're going to talk about times you did the damage. And then we're going to get into cleansing our mind. We've got to get into how can I cleanse my mind? How can I change? If you say I'm stuck, how can I do this? Thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.